Title of our study is Improving the Achievement and Problem-Solving Skills of Students. How effective is CTCA in nuclear chemistry? I'm Ibukunlu A. Ademola, and I'm the lead author for the following research team. We are from African Center of Excellence for Innovative and Transformative STEM Education, Lagos State, Nigeria. We identified the following problem in our study: unimpressive performance in chemistry in school and public examination in many African countries, lack of problem-solving skills by many chemistry students. This problem led us to the following research questions. One, will there be a statistically significant difference in the academic achievement and problem-solving skills of chemistry students taught nuclear chemistry using CTCA and lecture method? And the second is there any statistically significant main effects and interaction effect of method of teaching and sets on achievement and problem-solving skills of students taught nuclear chemistry using CTC and lecture method? The study is based on the following theoretical framework. The study was built on the learning theory of Lev Vygotsky and Ausubel theory of meaningful learning, while the philosophical framework are three. The first one is ethnophilosophy, second is technophilosophy, and the third one is consensualism. The research was conducted in two phases. The first phase was the survey phase, where survey of difficult concepts in chemistry was conducted, while the second phase is a quasi-experimental research, and which was used to determine if CTC can improve the achievement of students in one of the topics. At the survey phase, the sample comprised all African secondary school chemistry students, and there were 1,292 chemistry students from 2 West African countries, Ghana and Nigeria, and 51 female and 41 female were the representation of the population. The difficult concept chemistry questionnaire was used to administer, and the data collected was subjected to mean rank analysis. And we found nuclear chemistry as the second most difficult concept and organic chemistry as the first most difficult concept. So we decided to go for nuclear chemistry because organic chemistry have been used in another study. Now, at the quasi-experimental phase, the sample comprised all Lagos State Secondary School chemistry students. There were 102 senior secondary school 2 students, which is equivalent of 11th grade of the United States. There were 53 subjects at the experimental group and 49 subjects at the control group. The treatment lasted for 4 weeks of 35 minutes per week. The two groups were administered the same protests. The experimental group enjoyed treatment while the control group do not have any treatment. There were two instruments were used at this particular stage at the quasi phase. The first is nuclear chemistry achievement test. It was first subjected to reliability, and the following reliability value was obtained, 0.80. And the second instrument is nuclear chemistry problem-solving skills. It was also subjected to reliability check using split half, and we got the reliability value of 0.76. Cultural techno-contextual approach was the method of teaching used to teach the experimental group, and this particular method is designed to break down many barriers to learning to meaningful learning. And the following barrier to meaningful learning, such as fear of science due to its special language and mathematical orientation and the rest of others, were all met and broken down by CTCA. So how does CTCA works? The first is the teacher give the student pre-assignments before the lesson starts. So the student have the access, they have the opportunity to know what the teacher intends to teach them ahead of time. So, and the teacher will give them the instruction, ask another person at home on so topic. Let them tell you what the cultural practices that is related to this topic And then the student will also be informed to also source the internet and look for things that are related to the topic they will be taught ahead of the lesson. So the second step is, by the time the student return back to the class, they are grouped into groups of mixers and mixability, and they have the opportunity to exchange ideas, to also share what they learned from the elderly person, the cultural practices they are all coming up with, and they also discuss within themselves. And a leader will emerge from each of the group, which will represent each of the group. So at the third stage, the lesson progresses with sprinkle of humor, and examples will be drawn from the surroundings of the school, and which represent the contextual part of the cultural techno-contextual approach. The fourth step is that the teacher take over the lesson and remind the student all the cultural practices. At this stage, the teacher can come up with his own cultural practices, and then if there is any misconception in the course of the presentation of the student at this stage, the teacher can correct those misconceptions. And the final stage, which is the fifth step, is that at the close of the lesson, the teacher will summarize the lesson into 320 words and send to all the students either via SMS or through the use of WhatsApp. The first research question was answered through one-way Markova, and the result shows that there is a statistically significant difference in the method of teaching through the multivariate F Pilastris, it shows that the method CTCA, the method used to teach both groups, there is a significant difference in the method used to teach both groups. But univariate Markova on problem-solving skills shows fail to attain statistical significance. However, statistical significant difference was found for achievements, and this significant difference was found in favor of experimental group. The second research question was also answered using two-way Markova statistics, and this particular the result shows that the main effect due to sex was not significant. However, the main effect due to method was significant. The result also showed that the interaction of method and sex was not significant. Why was it that the CTCA group performed better than the lecture method group? The CTCA group performed better than the lecture method group because of the richness of the method. CTCA makes use of scaffold, and the students have the access to relate with an elderly person around them on cultural practices that are related to the topic. And unlike the lecture method, they don't have such opportunities. So the learners were able to perform a task with some assistance of an elderly person. So they have been able to find out what the topic is related to from an elderly person. They also have the opportunity to browse through the web, find out one thing or the other. And you see students, these children are playing the Ayo Olokpon, like we call it in Yoruba, which we can link to half-life in the nuclear chemistry. And also, the CTCA group performed better than the lecture group because the method makes use of examples around the students. The students have the opportunity to see things around them that are related to the topic. They also have the opportunity to browse through the web. They also have the opportunity to relate with each other during the lesson, and they were able to also present what they learned. So in this particular method, the teacher acts as a facilitator, unlike in the lecture method, where the teacher is the one that teaches all things, everything to the students. For this CTCA group, the teacher is just a facilitator. And these are some of the indigenous knowledge related to the concept of nuclear chemistry. In Africa, drums are made by the skin of wild animals. And when the skin of wild animals are removed, what they do first is to expose them to sunlight, where they become very strong. And they also by the time the skin is dried up, then it can now be used to make any sort of drums depending on the choice of this particular person. It can be used to make gogo drum, bembe, akwesin, shakara, bata, and so on. So this concept is related to radioactivity because the skin, the animal skin, is exposed to sunlight in order for it to emit any form of fat or liquid and absorb large quantity of heat energy before it can be used to, because it can be used for any purpose. And you can see the skin as they are sun dry, and the drum that this particular one has been used for at the end. The second is that the Ayolokmo is an intellectual African board game, and it is played in a carved wood. There are 12 holes in Ayolokmo, and each of the holes must contain 4 Ayo seed, which is like a stone, small stone. So in other words, there must be 48 Ayo seed in total, and 2 people can play this game. And so this game can be linked to Half-Life, because if there are more than 2 players participants, then what happens is 2 people play. Somebody will be eliminated. Another person come up, and the winner of the loser of that game will go. Another person will play with the winner, and like that, people are being eliminated one after the other. So the concept can be related to Half-Life because these participants keep decreasing in number per game. And at the end of the game, the eligibility of the participant decreases because once a participant loses the game, he or she is no longer eligible to participate again until that particular game ends. So in conclusion, we'd like to make the following recommendation that CTCA should be adopted as a method of teaching globally. And the second is that we also recommend that further studies should be conducted on the use of CTCA. And lastly, training should be organized for teachers on the use of CTCA. The following are my references. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ibukunlu Ademola. Thank you a lot.